Hi, this is Jeffrey, and today I wanted to do a very general overall review of Casio's fishing timer watch. Yes, Casio's fishing timer watch. This is the WS-1200H. So, this watch is one of Casio's more specialized type of watches. Now, Casio occasionally makes a watch that you may want to call it a gimmick watch or some type of specialized feature watch. Now, I remember when I was much younger, Casio had a lot of very interesting gimmick type watches, watches that played music, watches that did all sorts of other interesting things. And if you are a fan of Casio's digital watches, you probably have seen some of them in pictures or somewhere on the internet. Now, that's not a bad thing. I think these gimmicky kind of watches are interesting, and so is this fishing timer watch. Now, we're going to take a look at mainly the overall aesthetics and look at the watch. This is a very complicated watch to set. As you can see, the main feature here is the fishing timer. It also has the moon age and moon phase data. It's equipped with a 10-year battery, and it's 100 meters water resistant. So let's start taking a look at this very interesting fishing timer watch from Casio. So here's the watch on my wrist. Now, as you can see, it's a very busy kind of a watch. There's all different kinds of colors on it. Now, this is the blue version, the dark blue version. There's also, I think, a khaki version. There's, I think, a black version. Here you have the blue. There may be one or two others. But this one I liked the best because it's blue and it's yellow, and those are colors that complement each other. So I really liked the blue and the yellow together. As you can see, there's lots of text on the face as usual with a typical Casio watch. But let's look at the display and let's see what there is. Now, on the bottom, as you can see, there is the time and today's date as Saturday, January 7th. Now, above that, on the top, you will see that there's like a graphic indicator of fish. As you can see, the fish icons, or I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a dolphin icon, but those are little fish icons on the top part of the screen. It looks like it's in some kind of a radar design, for lack of a better term. So that's, I really like that. I thought that was very, very well done. Now, what does this indicate? This indicates how good or not so good it is for fishing. Now, depending upon the day, you will see varying degrees of fish on that top part of the screen, depending upon the calculation, if it's good or not good for fishing. Now, this watch is also set to my location. Now, I'm in New York City, so you also have to set the watch, the fishing feature, by your location. So this shows that at Saturday, January 7th, at around 3:46 p.m., the fishing availability is, I believe this is a number 3. So it's okay. I would say that this is like a middling fishing availability. So if you go out to fish, you'll find some fish. It probably won't be super abundant, but you will find fish. So like I said, I believe this is at number 3 on the fish level. Now, when you are at the top level of fish availability for your selected area, the entire top part of the screen will be filled with fish. You will see much more fish icons in that top part of the screen than what you see now. Now, also, conversely, when it's a very poor time to fish, there will be no fish in that top part of the screen. And I've noticed that that happens more often than the times when it's really good to fish. So this top part of the screen will indicate to you if it's a good time to go fishing or not. Now, in the middle here, you have a circle on the right side, and that tells you the moon phase. Now, today it's blank. And what does that mean? That means that it's a new moon. Now, I looked at the calendar that I have on the wall, and a new moon starts on January 6th. So that was sometime yesterday that a new moon started. So I would say that this is pretty accurate as to the moon phases. I'm not a lunar expert, but it looks like that this is probably pretty accurate as to what the moon phase is. So if anything, I think this is a good feature that you have if you're interested in knowing what the moon phase is. So when it's a full moon, you'll see the entire circle as being blacked out. Now, there's like different sections of the moon that will appear as time goes on. Probably during the week, you will see another sliver appear, another black sliver, another one, until it's a full moon, in which case it will be totally black, meaning that all slivers of the moon will be shown. Unfortunately, we're in a new moon here, so you can't really even see that on the display of the watch. So let's take a look at other features such as the strap. Now, as you can see, this watch has a somewhat unusual strap to it. This might not be the only Casio watch that has this type of strap, but it's probably one of the few that do. As you can see, it has two sets of holes for adjustments going all the way around. So this is a very interesting and unusual type of watch. I actually don't really prefer this. I would prefer the single type of adjustment hole all around. But what could you do? This is the type of band that it has. Now, I found it a bit difficult to try and set it all the way to one of the top holes on the smallest adjustments of the band. I have a narrow wrist. I could have set it a little wider, but I tried it all the way to one of the top two adjustments, and it was kind of difficult to get it into those slots to close the band. It was just more difficult than I thought it would be. So if you have a narrow wrist, it could be a bit of a problem in getting this watch band adjusted to where you want. And I had to pull on it, and I really felt that I was possibly going to break this rubber band. But luckily I didn't, and so I hope I don't do that. As you can see, it has a ridge over here, and that is a feature that I've seen on other Casio watches that I have. So all in all, it's an interesting design, although I really don't actually like it all that much. Now, as you can see here, the watch strap also does have an imprinted pattern on it, some kind of squarish pattern, checkerboard pattern. So that's also something to take into consideration, whether you like that or you do not. So let's take a look at this side of the watch. Now, in contrast to the very circular design of this Casio watch, it has two big square buttons on each side, and it has ridges on it. And I really do like this style. I have a couple of other Casio watches that have this similar type of buttons on them. So I really do like this, and I think it's an interesting contrast to the more circular design of this watch. And it is As you can see, it does have a slight circular shape to them, these buttons. But on the side, it's totally straight and rectangular. Now, I wanted to show a close-up of the watch face because, as you can see, there's a lot of patterning going on, a lot of patterning detail, especially around the perimeter of the display area. Now, on the top part of the display area around the fishing icons, you can see that there are these little circles. There's like 5 or 6 little circles there, and those are supposed to represent bolts. You know, even though this is a plastic watch, they try to make it look like it's, you know, possibly made of metal. It's a very interesting machine aesthetic that Casio is using with this watch, and they've also done this with a number of their other watches, as you might know. So they also did it with this fishing watch, which I think is kind of interesting. It has a bit of a Japanese robot aesthetic going on, which I kind of like. So I think it's interesting that they put all of this together in a very interesting way. A circular watch with a lot of angular lines on it, as you can see, with a machine aesthetic. As I said, it's a very busy looking watch, but I think it's done pretty well. I think it's done pretty well. It's probably one of their larger watches, and I really do like the design of this watch and how they were able to, you know, really pull it off. So I really hope you liked this general overall look at the Casio fishing timer watch. And as always, I thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye.